Hey guys, what's up? Matt here, and today's video is for business owners and for salespeople. So we want to understand why people suck at selling, okay? There's a bunch of reasons why, but I'm going to kind of break down the reasons why I think that people suck. If you're looking for reasons why your sales team is underperforming, or if you're looking for reasons why you yourself are underperforming or ways to improve your performance, then make sure you stay all the way to the end of the video, like, subscribe to the notification bell, all that kind of good stuff, and cue the intro. All right guys, so why do people suck at selling? I've got 4 main points that I want to kind of go over you with. Point number 1, people think that their industry is special. You're not special, you're not a snowflake, your prospects are not different, your prospects are not unusual. All these things are just things that people build up in their own mind to justify the reason why their techniques are failing them. You just gotta get rid of the notion that we're all just little rainbows and unicorns falling from the ceiling and that you're a special snowflake. You're selling people, that's it. You're selling people. I work with top performing sales reps in like 50 different industries, from door-to-door alarm sales to door-to-door solar to medical device sales to coaching and consulting to SaaS to fitness to car sales to merchant services, energy sales, etc. And they all use the NEPQ methodology, which is the methodology that I learned from Jeremy Miner and that we work with together in 7th level. And they all make extraordinarily good commissions. We have door knockers that are solar door-to-door door knockers that make $100,000 a month in commissions, right? And then people in solar, they say that's not possible. It is, this guy's doing it, right? There's a reason why Kobe was so good, made so much money, he practiced and he had great technique. It's not all BS. They're not lying to prospects. They're just good. They realize that, number 1, they're not special, that their industry, they can improve, they can go above industry standards, and that they're just selling people. So that's tip number 1. You're not a snowflake, okay? Your industry is not special. Number 2 is that people think that sales is a gift, right? It is not a gift. You know, people say, oh, this guy's just got the gift of the gab. It's like, well, maybe, or he just has a really solid process that he follows every time and he puts in the work to get better and better and better at what he does, right? Like, I don't know. It could be the fact that he's lucky and that he's born with it, or he worked really hard, followed a process, invested in himself, looked at things from an analytical basis and made small improvements over time so that he or she could become very, very successful at what they're selling. Like, no one is born a gifted salesperson, right? You can be good at communicating and talking to people, no doubt, but that's not what sales is. Sales is the art of persuasion, right? And it is able to take someone through a process which you win most of the time. That's what sales is. There's a lot of other things, but it's a very, very process-driven activity. And so for you to be thinking, or for your sales reps to be thinking like, man, that guy's just so good at sales, like, I wonder what he's doing. We've had guys that have been accused of lying to prospects, and it's like, listen to the calls, man. Like, they're just better than you are. And people find that really, really difficult to believe. You might be watching this finding this difficult to believe, that there are guys out there in your industry that are doing 5, 8, 10 times the revenue you are with the same lead volume, the same prospects. They're just much better than you. Right? But that's a process that they've gone through and it's replicatable. Sales is a process-driven activity. If you track the interactions that you have and you create a process and SOPs, so standard operating procedures, around the most common interactions, then you can systematically improve each interaction. That's what sales is. Now, if you want an in-depth video on my sales process and how I actually break that down, then make sure you comment process down below. If I get 50 comments, I'll do a video about like how I break down each interaction cycle and then how I can sort of problem solve each individual part of the sale. And that's how I did it, right? If you want to do that, if you want to see that video, do it now. The number 3 is that people just don't take their job in sales very seriously. They don't invest in themselves. They don't track like an athlete. So you have to ask yourselves really, really hard questions. And what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself the questions that I'm about to ask you. Do I track all of my stats? From the moment you have the first interaction with a prospect to the moment the deal's closed and everything in between, okay? Do you track what happens afterwards for referrals? Do you track which sales you closed on the first call, the second call, follow-up? I mean, do you really track it? Like, if I went to Usain Bolt right now and I said, like, give me all your 100-meter times, your weight training, and everything you ate for the last 10 years, it's most likely all gonna be on a spreadsheet on his trainer's computer or on his computer, okay? Because like, if you don't have the data, you cannot fix any problems because you can't see any patterns. So it's like, do you track enough? Do you actually take this job seriously enough to where you're able to fix every part of your process? Like, do you do everything, right? Do you ask every client for a referral? Do you follow up religiously for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years with all of your prospects? Like Ryan Serhnant does. He followed up with a totally non-responsive prospect every single week manually for 9 years. And then she bought, like, I think she bought a $12 million apartment, and she bought like a $17 million apartment. And he made like $500,000 commission that week because of a tenacious follow-up for 9 years. And I think what you want to ask yourself is, would you have done that? And the answer is probably no. And the reason why he's so successful is because he did and he does. And lastly, like, have you ever invested serious money, but also time into getting better? Kobe had a coach. MJ had a coach. I have a coach. You should have a coach. It's something to think about, like, how much time do you genuinely spend getting better at your craft? And not just like, oh, do role play for half an hour a week. I don't know, like analytically looking at what you're doing, looking at your own game footage. Tom Brady watches his own game footage. Why? Because he wants to see areas that he can improve. And last but not least is people just give up too easily. They don't put a system together where they can non-combatively handle objections for any decent length of time. And so again, like, comment process down below if you want me to do a video on not only that, but also like how I take objection handling like a process. If I can use a martial art as an example, and again, this might go over some people's heads, this is say like, I have a really good right hook. It's not good enough just to have a right hook. I have to be able to set that right hook up. I have to be able to put myself and my opponent in positions to where that right hook can be effective. So I need a system to do that. I might need a really strong left jab. And sales is the same. You have to have a system that plays to your strengths, where you can funnel people into certain ways of speaking and thinking so that you can control and dictate, or have some semblance of control over the conversation. When I listen to calls and people are objection handling, they just give up so easily. And I think it's because like they just don't feel confident and they don't have a system, right? Most calls end up with like, oh, okay, well, let's just schedule a follow-up and we'll chat sometime next week. Those are my kind of big, giant, massive reasons why people suck at sales. If you did like this video, make sure you comment process down below, slap the like, hit the notification bell, all that kind of good stuff. Make sure that you subscribe so I know that you're supporting the channel. If you do want some more free resources, make sure you head to salesniper.net. We have a whole bunch of free resources around this objection handling matrix and a lot of our stuff, which is all very, very process driven. And make sure you hop over to the free group, which is the closing code. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that video and have a good day. Bye.